Hello, Statia Ryder here at the Driftwood School Garden, and I'm excited to share a fun project for you to do with your family that involves unlocking some of nature's most curious creations, sprouting seeds. For this project, you will be receiving 2 baggies of seeds, sunflowers and peas. These seeds contain inside of them the life force to grow into strong, vigorous plants that could supply you with beautiful flowers, peas, and they could even produce more seeds for you to grow next year. But for this project, we will grow these seeds into sprouts. Sprouts are something that you will harvest, and we call them microgreens. There's always a lot to learn throughout any growing process. Here are some peas that some kindergartners planted in the garden. Well, they actually started them in their classroom and then moved them outside to the garden. And then a big storm came and kind of beat them up. So what did we learn from this? How can we grow? Would we do something different next time? We ask each other, what are your ideas? I wonder what would happen if, and we try again. We call this growth mindset, and it is crucial when you are experimenting in the garden. Ready to get started? Here we go. Step 1 is to gather your materials. You will need a spray bottle, a paper towel, some seedling mix, some type of containers to put your soil in, a bowl with your seeds in it, and some water. Step 2 is to soak your seeds overnight. You're going to pour water into the bowl of your seeds. Once you have them covered with water, you will cover the seeds with a paper towel. You will be surprised how much these seeds will absorb the water. So just let them sit somewhere in a dark place overnight. The kitchen counter will usually work fine. Are you wondering why we're soaking the seeds overnight? Well, it's because we've learned that by soaking them overnight, it allows the seeds to absorb more water, which means they will sprout or germinate faster. All right, now we're ready to put some soil in our containers. I'm going to use this container as a scooper. We really only need 1 or 2 inches of soil in a container. So once you put your soil in, you're going to press it down. I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these up. Now that there's soil in my containers and I've pressed them down, I'm going to add some water to every single one of them. I want this soil to be nice and moistened. Now, we're not trying to create a swamp or a wetland habitat here, so you don't need a lot of water, just enough to soak it in. So these containers do have holes in the bottom so that it is going to come out, and that is perfectly okay, because what will happen is the soil will continue absorbing this water until it is all filled up. Or if it feels like it's moist enough already, ooh, that's pretty swampy. You can always dump that water at the bottom of your container out, which is what makes this container pretty handy for this little project. But you'll notice there's not a lot of soil in my cups and my pots. You really don't need much soil to sprout the seeds. Okay, here are the peas after 1 night of soaking. I'm going to go ahead and pour the seeds into the soil. And as you can see, it's a lot. So you want to spread them out so it's one even layer. So you don't want them on top of each other. And you do want to be sure to press them into the soil so they're nice and firmly attached to the ground, because they will send a root down and they'll send a sprout up. And that's looking pretty good. So the next thing that you'll want to do with your seeds is to place them in a dark location. This can be simply covering them with aluminum foil, maybe a bowl or a paper bag, or maybe putting them in a closet. I found a nice dark cabinet. Okay, here I am. Day 2 of having my pea seeds in the dark. Lots of sprouts I'm seeing. So just give them a nice even mist of spray on top just to keep them nice and moist so they'll keep growing and not dry out. Because all those little tails you see are the sprouts, and then one side of the sprout is going to go into the soil, and the other side of the sprout is going to shoot up, and that will be the part that you will harvest. Okay, hope that was helpful. See you next time. Okay, these have now been in the dark for about 3 or 4 days, and I think they're ready to come into the light. So how I can tell they're ready is there's a nice long white stem, and I'm seeing at the very tips of the stem is what will be the first leaves. So those first leaves are what you would normally see pop out of the ground, and they would be, as soon as they touch the sunlight, they'll start to make chlorophyll, which will turn them green. So I'm going to set these in front of my window and see if they green up in the next day, and be sure to continue to water them every day so they stay nice and moist. You can see after 1 day in the window, those stems and leaves are greening right up. So remember, you still want to go ahead and spray water to keep everything moist onto your sprouted seeds. And once they're about twice this size with some leaves on them, they will be ready to harvest and toss into a salad, onto your eggs, into a stir fry, into a sandwich, into a smoothie. All right, here we are. It has been a week and 2 days since I soaked the seeds overnight. It is time to harvest. You'll need a washed, clean pair of scissors, a bowl or something to put your sprouts into, and a helper if you have one. Okay, I will admit here that I kind of forgot about the sprouts over the weekend and didn't water them at all. And I think I could have even harvested them a day or 2 ago. So I'm noticing that there are these tendrils starting to grow off the peas. And those are perfectly fine to eat, no problem at all. But it does add a different texture to your mouth. So here we go. You can see you'll be cutting it just like a haircut. So you'll kind of pinch in between the sprouts, and then just cut it as low as you can. You'll want to enjoy the sprouts within probably 5 days of cutting them at the latest. This is one of those products that's best enjoyed fresh, and they're super healthy for you. Okay, you might be wondering, how do I cut these ones since they're all the way inside the cup? So you'll be surprised, maybe, that you can probably just pull the whole thing right out. Look at that. All those roots are just holding it all together. So, just like before. Voila. Hope you've enjoyed growing microgreens with me and are feeling like you want to experiment on your own to grow some. I purposely did not grow the sunflower seeds that you are also receiving. That way you can enjoy that process on your own. Have fun, and hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye! Happy growing!